This video is not financial advice, and you should never take financial advice from a YouTuber, least of all me. In this video, what we're going to talk about is the current situation facing Bitcoin, specifically to do with a thing called Tether. Now, even if you say to me, I'm not invested in Bitcoin, I don't care about Bitcoin, I don't want to hear about any of this. That's perfectly understandable. But what we're about to witness, whether it's tomorrow or next week or the month after or maybe a year from now, at some point we are going to witness a gigantic car accident. And anybody who's ever driven past a car accident knows it's very difficult to look away. And what I'm talking about today is a car accident that we get to watch happening in real time, all recorded on the blockchain. So let's take a look at our three little friends here. We've got C for Charlie, T for Tether, and F for Bitfinex. And here's how it works. Suppose that Charlie here wants to purchase some Bitcoins. What does he do? He would go to a Bitcoin exchange and he would give them his money and they would give him Bitcoins. But in fact, these days, that's not usually how it works. Places like Bitfinex actually only trade for Tether coins. So suppose this is you, you're Charlie, you're very happy, cool looking green dude with your baseball cap backwards. What you have to do is go to Tether to get your coins before you can trade. So basically you walk up and you say, hey, listen man, I want to get some of your Bitcoins. And this guy says, no can do, brother. First you've got to speak to my mate Tethercoin, get some coins from him, bring them to me, and I'll give you some Bitcoins. So that's what you do. So you go over to Tethercoin and you give them, say, for argument's sake, $100 of US dollars, right? He then gives you back 100 USDT. Now this is a type of crypto coin that is supposedly pegged to the dollar. So you give him 100 US dollars, he gives you 100 Tether coins. These are Tether coins. Then with your Tether coins, you can go and say, here you go friends, here are my 100 Tether coins. And then they can give you $100 worth of Bitcoin. So you see, by the end of the process, you have $100 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, so you get the idea. You've spent your $100 and you've gotten $100 worth of Bitcoin. So as far as you're concerned, by the end of the process, you've gotten what you wanted. There was a middleman here, but you've gotten your $100 worth of Bitcoin. And the way the whole process works is that this person, the Tethercoin, says that their US dollar Tethercoin will always be pegged to US dollars at 1 to 1. Now you might say, well, how come this is how Bitcoins work now? What's the point? Well, the idea is that if Bitfinex or these exchanges trade your US dollars directly to Bitcoins, then they might come under more regulations or there might be some other loopholes they have to jump through or what have you. However, by only trading for Tether coins, which is another kind of cryptocurrency, they can avoid those problems. So by employing this middleman, they basically externalize their own risks or their own problems. So while this might seem complicated, it actually does kind of make sense. So long as Mr. Tethercoin here with his cowboy hat looking thing, so long as he makes sure that he does keep the US dollar Tether coins tethered to the US dollar at 1 to 1, which is exactly what they promise they're going to do. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. For this to be tethered at 1 to 1, for however many Tether coins this guy issues, there must be a US dollar in the bank. And this is what they promise is the case. If we go to their website, we'll see that they do indeed promise that they've got a 1 to 1 ratio of Tether coins issued for US dollars in the bank. But do they really? Well, let's take a look at the number of Tether coins that have been issued in just the last few months. In fact, let's take a look at how many have been issued in just the last few days. close to $100 million worth of Tether coins have been issued, have they really received that amount of money in US dollars? Well, it'd be nice if people could audit these people. However, you can't actually audit them, and they haven't even released one of their audits since many months ago, back when there was only $50 million worth of Tether coins in circulation. There's now over 700 million Tether coins in circulation. So in other words, if it's actually pegged at 1-to-1, these guys should have about $700 million in the bank. It gets better though. If you check out Tether's website, they openly state in their terms and conditions that they don't have to trade back your Tether coins for US dollars. Now, none of this is a problem so long as the Bitcoin price keeps going up, because Charlie here, he's happy to keep purchasing Bitcoins and going through Mr. T here. He's happy to do that so long as his Bitcoin holdings are going up in paper value. But there's another little problem. You see, and we'll change our color here, these two dudes both happen to be controlled by the same group. That's right, very hard to believe, but here's an article from the New York Times. These are actually one and the same entity for all intents and purposes. So think about what's happening here. This dude is saying, I will happily sell you some Bitcoins, my friend, but I want tethers. You've got to speak to him. So you go and speak to him to get your tethers. He's openly stating, look man, you ever come back with those Tether coins, they're useless. So effectively, this guy can only go one way. He can put money in, but he is not getting money out. So what happens when you get more and more money going in? Well, you get the Bitcoin price going up. But will people keep putting money in when the Bitcoin price stops going up? It gets even better again. You see, if these people are controlling the exchanges, then they can make money whether the market is going up or the market is going down. The only person who's going to lose when the market's going down is this fellow, because he won't be able to get his money out. Everything that I've just told you might seem too hard to believe that this could possibly be going on. We've just heard that the Bitcoin price is up to 10,000 US dollars and it's going gangbusters. However, if we look at the fact that there are all these Tether coins in circulation and they're only going up, and the same group who are responsible for those Tether coins are also running the exchanges where the Bitcoins are sold, then what do you think is going on here? Let me suggest to you one possibility. These Tether coins are being spent on Bitcoins, driving up demand, driving up the price, and encouraging poor Charlie here, or Chump, which is what the C is really for, encouraging him to put more money in as well. But if and when these people decide that it's time for the price to go down, they will have that information before Charlie or anybody else can get their money out, and then a little bit like Lyle Landley in that episode of The Simpsons, they can jump in their plane, they can jump in their car and drive off to Tahiti, and there will be nothing that anybody can do about it. Vroom! Off to Tahiti, see you later boys, and Charlie the Chump is left with nothing. I hope all of that made sense. If it doesn't make sense, I do a much better job of explaining all of this in an article at my website, available completely for free at johnlebon.com. So you can go and check that out, link in the info box below. But for the time being, that will do us for today. A little side note, I am not a critic of Bitcoin necessarily. I am not a critic of cryptocurrency necessarily. And nothing I'm saying in this video is new or original. People were talking about this months ago, and in that time, the Bitcoin price has gone up significantly and substantially. So for all we know, this little charade could keep going for another 3 months, another 6 months, another 12 months, who knows? So I'm not advising anybody to pull their money out of Bitcoin now while they still can, because Bitcoin could be 20 grand in a month. It could be 100 grand in 6 months. Who knows when this merry dance will stop? All we do know is that when it's time for this merry dance to stop, these guys will be heading to Tahiti and there'll be nothing you can do about it, just like a game of musical chairs. So, cryptocurrency, investment, all those kinds of things, buyer beware. Take your own risks, make your own decisions. I am not saying to pull your money out of Bitcoin, but I will tell you this. I personally have begun liquidating my holdings, and if it turns out that in 6 months I look like a fool because I got out early, that's fine. I'll wear that. But at the same time, if it turns out that in a month or two, this whole house of cards has come crashing down, don't say I didn't warn you. Check out the link in the info box below, and until next time, you guys, take care of yourselves.